now. All right, so we are actually recording.
Hi everyone, this is Larry Straining, and welcome to today's Northeast Oklahoma and
all new on Clock Channel.
Oh, something happened.
It's playing an ad, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so
Nice. He's worked with the best.
make the ad go away.
And the worst. Wow. Now, Hey Kenny takes on a brand new celebrity foursome. Then it has you completely shock us all.
I have everything on mute and it keeps playing.
All new stock interviews. You're young, you make a lot of money. I think money's not for the same time.
Well, while Larry's introducing us, this is a live show. This is what happens. He's trying to get into Justin.tv, and we're working on that right now. Let me get in here with the... there we go. There's Larry. Are you in?
Yeah, I just got that. For some reason, that commercial wouldn't let me mute. Okay, let's try this again. Hi everyone, welcome to this month's e-learning chat, e-learning SIG group with the Central Oklahoma chapter and Northeast Oklahoma chapters of ASTD, and we have an opportunity this month to talk with Rick Zanotti, and Rick Zanotti is the owner of Relate Core, and he is the producer and co-host on the web TV shows.
Hey, Larry, you're sorry, but your sound's cutting out about every other word. It's coming and going. You want me to try calling you again on Skype? Maybe we just have one of those Skype.
It could be because we were working fine until a second ago, weren't we?
Yeah. Then all of a sudden it started cutting out. Let's see. I think you might be back. It's only on the voice. Your video looks good. Now, for all you guys watching, this is what happens during a live show. Isn't it fun? Things don't always work like they should. And that's because we rely on Skype. Skype is great, but it also suffers from bandwidth issues every so often. Now, Larry, can you hear me okay?
I hear you just fine, Rick.
Okay, now your voice is good. It's coming in okay.
So, with that aside, we have Rick Zanotti, the producer of the Shrek Tech web show and eLearn Chat, and Shrek Tech is every Tuesday at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, and eLearn Chat is every Wednesday at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. So at this same location here, the Justin.tv Relate Core. And Rick, it's going to take us behind the scenes and show us all the technology behind creating these shows.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And Larry, thank you so much for inviting us and also for giving us the opportunity to share some of what we do. I know we've done this a couple of times, but it's always good to show people. A lot of people go, how do you do this? And it's not hard. It's a little tricky sometimes, but other than that, it's not hard. Most of the things that go wrong tend to be out of your control, things like Skype not quite cooperating with you. And so what we do is we work around those issues as much as we can by trying to do pre-shows to make sure that all the connections are good. And connections can be good right up front, and then they can go real bad real quickly. So it happens. In fact, we've had, when Terrence Wing was our co-host, he would occasionally just go to Hawaii. We just kid him that he was gone for 10, 15 minutes, took a quick trip to Hawaii, and then would come back. And it was Skype. It was Skype in his area. He had bandwidth issues. And you never know when they're going to hit, and when they do hit, it's just frustrating because you try to get out of that problem. So what are we going to do here? I have several shots to show you of how you create an internet broadcast. So in essence, we are like an internet TV channel. Now, I'm doing this out of my home right now. Ideally, what you need is bandwidth. And at work, we have a T1, which is, in the old days, was really quick, but a T1 nowadays doesn't give you the multimedia bandwidth you might need to make things happen. So we went to the home where I have near FiOS speeds, and we were able to do the podcast very easy, or the webcast, real easily. And what we do is we have a tool called Wirecast. Now, I'm going to switch shots right here, so I'll try not to make everybody nauseous. But you notice I've got another camera here. We've got two cameras set up right now. And what you're seeing here is my screen. This is the screen which has Wirecast on it. So this is what I see when we do the shows. And you can see that it's currently showing this camera on two sides. You have the left side of the screen on the top is the about to go live. And on the right-hand side is the actual live footage or live video feed that we're getting. Now, this is a Logitech C910 webcam. And what this does is it allows you to just pretty much capture anything that's in front of it, just like a typical webcam. What we're doing here, this is considered one shot. Now, if I zoom in a little bit, it might be a little bit blurry, but on the bottom you see different things, different boxes. Those are shots that we call every so often. And for example, it's probably just a little blurry. It looks blurry to me over here. They'll have one shot. In fact, let me show you. Let me run you through. Sorry for the nausea cam here. We'll try not to move that too much. This here is my main shot. This is actually coming through another camera. In fact, let me show you that camera real quick. That's this camera right here. That is a Canon Vixia HFS 30. This is a pretty much prosumer camera. You could call it professional. It really does have professional video quality, very good sensor. Now that is on a tripod. You can probably see that over here. That is on my desk. I have about a 9-foot workstation, so I've got about 5 foot on the side I'm on and about 4 feet on the other side. And so this is being connected through a card on our digital video workstation. And let me see if I can show you what the workstation looks like. It's kind of a monster. You can probably see a little bit over here. It's a little dark down there. Let me see if I can put a light on it, make it a little bit better. That probably doesn't do a heck of a lot. When you have a black workstation underneath in a dark area, you're just not going to see too much. But that workstation, you can see it there, that is a very fast video workstation that we actually assembled ourselves. And what you do with the video workstation, it's got a lot of drives, four drives, about probably 6 terabytes of storage on that. And then this camera, which you saw a second ago right there, that camera connects via HDMI into the big video box. And to do that, we have what's called a Blackmagic Designs Intensity Pro card. The Intensity Pro is an HDMI input card. It takes the HDMI output from the camera and inputs it into the PC, which in turn goes into Wirecast, and Wirecast sees that as this. So what you're seeing right there is the Blackmagic Intensity card. So whenever I'm doing anything, that's being captured by the webcam. Now, as I go over here, you see Larry. Now, Larry is on his webcam off of his either laptop or PC. I'm not sure what you have over there.
Actually, I'm on my iPad right now.
You're on your iPad, really good.
Coming through.
Actually, the video is very good on the iPad. You look good. Larry always looks good. He looks better with a Viking cap on, but anyway. And then what we have, I'm going to go back to the slightly nausea cam, and let me try to get the wires not to hit everything. So what we have back here, let me see. I feel like a surgeon doing surgery because I can't really see while I'm doing this. Okay, what we have back there is a Mac Mini. Now that is a Mac Mini server. That is the machine that is one of the Skype machines that we use. And then if I go kind of over here, you might be able to see it. There is a second Mac Mini up there. And the second one, that's the machine Larry's on right now. Now what we do, and it's kind of fun, we take all of that audio coming from both those machines, and I'm showing you our mixer right now. A mixer is nothing more than something that takes different audio signals, whether it's music instruments, voice in this case, and mixes them together. So you get one track out of it. And so this mixer takes the inputs or the outputs from both of the Mac Minis, which are what we call our Skype machines, takes all of those and combines them, sends them to the PC and to Wirecast so we can get sound from the other people. Now, you may be asking, why don't we just do this whole thing on Wirecast? Now, there is a reason we don't do that. For example, if I have Skype on my local machine, which I do have, I just don't have it on right now, I could have 3 or 4 or 5 sessions right there, but I have no control over the individual audio of each person. So as a result, I can't mix the audio. Let's say Larry's really loud and another person's really low. We'd have a really hard time doing the show and making it somewhat consistent as far as volumes go. So we don't connect through Skype on one machine. You can. I just don't recommend it because of really the audio difficulties you might have. A lot of people do it that way. More often than not, it works out, but you just have to be a little bit careful because that could throw the audio way off, and you may have to go into post-production afterwards and just modify it, which is at best tedious. So let's go back to the nausea cam. We didn't provide seasickness bags today, but we should have. Now, so here is again the mixer, and you see over here there are 2 microphones. Now, many times I'm going to bring this other microphone close to me. I use this one a lot too. So, of course, I would have to turn on the preamplifier. So what we have is, this is a second microphone. Now, going back to our cam right here, over here, this one here, this cable is the big microphone, and the small cable is the headset I have on right now, which is a Rode HS1 headset. Now, what you see at the bottom of the mixer, these are called faders. And, it's kind of a funky name for what it really does. It just increases or decreases your volume. If I turn on, let's see, this is probably about right here. I'm going to turn on the other microphone. I'm going to turn this one off. Now I'm on the other microphone. You can probably hear a difference in the tonality. If I go over here, you can see this is a much bigger microphone versus a little headset, and it's a very little headset actually. The headset's very professional, but it doesn't have the big diaphragm that this has. So this is a large diaphragm condenser microphone. It gives you very good sound. I'm going to switch to this view. And so you can see here, when I talk, if I'm doing the show, I would be looking at the camera, and I would have the mic right about a little off axis, right about here. And this captures sound pretty well. Now I'm going to go back to the other microphone. So now I am on my headset microphone. Let me lower that a little bit. It feels like I'm clipping. And again, going back to the nausea cam here, the faders control the volume of all your sets. So this fader right here, the number 2 fader, is my headset. If I start lowering it, you notice I'm talking, but it's getting a lot lower. If I bring it up too high, it's going to get a lot of clipping. So I'm going to leave it right about here where it looks like it's okay. If you look up here, you'll see meters. Now, watch what happens as I lower it, the meter goes down. If I bring it up, the meter goes up all the way and it starts going red. Here's the meter up there. So as I get quiet, the meter goes down. As I talk, quiet and talking. So the meters let me know where we are with audio, whether we're clipping, whether we're too loud, whether we're too low. And then here, on these 3 faders, this one is what comes back from the PC. Now, for example, sometimes if you've watched a show, you'll hear things like, no, that's not lunchtime, that's just our sound effects. And we've got all sorts of strange sound effects, and including, never know when you might need a heartbeat. And you can see as all of these are playing, this last one here, this one is what comes back from the PC. This is another Skype machine, and this is Larry right here. So Larry has been shrunken into a little fader right here. That's him. So that's what controls the different channels. This is our master volume. So this controls everything that goes out into the show. So whenever you see the shows, the master output volume is coming from here. I can go too high, and then I can bring it back down to where it belongs. So that's really the master volume for everything. And as you can see over here on the mixers, you've got all these dials, tons of little dials. These are your equalization controls. Just in case you've got a lot of room noise, it gets rid of hiss and air conditioning and things like that. So over here then we've got...
Now, Rick?
Yeah.
While you're there on your soundboard,
yes.
A question that we have is asks about clipping. Can you explain what clipping is and what you meant by that?
Clipping is when the noise coming into, or the sound coming into a device is so loud that it distorts. So watch what happens. Now I am at total full volume, and you notice the sound doesn't sound that good. So when I bring it back down, it sounds much better. And I'm not clipping. Clipping means you hit the wave file all the way at the top, and it just kind of flattens out, and you have a lot of distortion. So that's something that you really want to avoid whenever you do any kind of audio, not to clip. It's actually better to record at a lower volume than to record at a higher volume and get problems with clipping. Now, as I move over here, you'll see that we have the Mac. This is one monitor for two Macs. So down here, if you can see it, I have, well, this is the first thing you see on top over here, which is this, with the light, with the big light in the middle, the big meter. That is a compressor, a limiter, and a gate. That's for audio. What it does is it compresses the sound a bit to get rid of the noise coming in from outside, from any of the lows that come in or any of the high frequencies that come in. It gets rid of that. And then that goes into the big microphone you saw earlier. Underneath it, which is kind of hard to see, let's see if I can get that in there. This thing is a switcher. It's a KVM, a keyboard mouse switcher, keyboard video mouse switcher. In this case, I'm not doing, actually we are doing the video. So this switches between the two Macs. So as I hit several keys on the keyboard, it'll switch screens. And for example, if I hit a couple keys, you should see on this one pretty soon, Larry. So that's Larry on the actual Mac. If I go back to the other one, then you'll see just an empty Skype ready to call someone session. In fact, we'll do that in a moment. So other things we have here, if I go up here, you'll see, well, actually you see some panels on the walls. Those are Auralex panels. That's A-U-R-A-L-E-X. Auralex is a sound dampening panel that gets rid of some reflection. You may wonder why I don't have a lot of it. You don't need that much in many cases. And right next to it at a kind of an angle is what's called a KinoFlow, K-I-N-O-F-L-O, a KinoFlow light. The KinoFlow lights are fluorescent, full spectrum. They have almost no heat. So as a result, you can have your talent or people or guests or anybody under it without really sweating or feeling uncomfortable. Now, behind me, I'm going to switch over here. You'll see that there is a big bright light right behind me. You can see it right about there, which looks like a sun from here because the video just kind of mashes it. Now, what that light does is, I'm going to go back to my view. That's the hair light. That lights up part of the headset. It lights up the hair from behind. It lights up my shoulders. What that does is it pops you out of the screen. So you don't look like you're part of the screen, but rather there's a certain amount of depth between you and the screen. If I turn, let me go back to the other cam. So here I'm going to switch back. Actually, sorry about that. So that's the front. Now here on the side, you'll see that there's more Auralex, some more pads on the walls. Again, that is to stop bouncing of sound so that the sound doesn't get too bassy or just distorted. I'm going to go back around here. And if you have any seasickness problems, I'm sorry. And from here, again, you'll see that there's more. Now, in these cases, what you're seeing, the black background, which is behind me, those are moving carpets. Nothing more than the type you can get at Home Depot or Lowe's. They cost about $10, $15 a piece, and they make great sound dampeners, and they're fairly inexpensive. So that's what you see here. That's just one big sound dampener. Nothing more than a carpet. And then here we go. We're back at the Mac. Then another thing I use over here, let's see if we can see it. This is where my hand usually is while we do the shows. It's called a Logitech G12 game controller. Now in this case, I'm not playing games. I'm switching between scenes like this. I press the first button, there I am. I press the second button, that would be our co-host, and then here is Larry, who is technically the guest on the show. Then here we have, this is the webcam. So this is another shot. If we have 3 people on, it's a 3-way shot. Excuse me. And here we have Larry and me communicating. And this would be the third person, the co-host, and Larry talking. So we set up all these shots based on all the inputs we have. So that's controlled by this Logitech. Let me bring it up so you can see it a little bit better, which is kind of hard because it's stuck on a cable. So this would allow you to switch just with your hands, just by pressing a keyboard, to all the different shots. You can set up 24 shots, but unfortunately Wirecast only recognizes from 0 to 9. So you've got about 10 different shots you can do. And back here, these are called reference speakers. Now, what those are used for is if you're doing any kind of voiceover work or you want to hear real clean quality sound. They're nothing more than speakers. They're called reference because they give you a point of reference so that you know that you're getting good, clean quality from these. And I think that's about it. Oh, wait, yeah. Let me show you this little thingy. This is the iPad. Now, the iPad is running a program right now called Soundbite. Let me see if you can read that. It's probably a little too hard to read. So when I press things here, you get sounds. Thank you very much. So all those... All right, never claimed to be a good Elvis imitator. Anyway, so you get all of these sounds here. And that's all controlled by this iPad. And it's kind of fun. If you ever just want to have nothing better to do and you want to play some noise. And at the end of a show, what we usually do is you'll hear some music playing, and that again is here. I press the soundtrack. I can press a different one. So that's all different things to run sound from. So I'm going to go back to my shot over here, and let's do one more thing. This is how, so you kind of see how we call people. Now, for example, right now, Larry and I are both on. So if I switch to this shot, there's Larry and there's me. We look like we're almost right next to each other. He's in a little room. Well, he's actually in a bigger, wider shot, so he looks smaller than I do because of that. I'm a little closer to the camera, and you can see his room and his background. Now, from that shot, I can go right into Larry right there, and now you could actually probably read his board. So this is actually a pretty cool way to get different shots, different perspectives. So we go from my shot, Larry's shot, and then sometimes you want to have 2 people on together. Whoops, wrong shot. And we're talking, and it looks like we're talking. If I look at Larry, he can look at me. I'm looking the other way. It's always, you have to always go the inverse way from where you think you are. And so there we're looking at each other. So it's kind of fun. So these are just how you create the shots and how you work through getting all the show angles and everything else. Wirecast from a company called Telestream, www.telestream, Telestream, as in Mary, telestream.net. They are the ones who make Wirecast, and they make a whole mess of other products like ScreenFlow, which is a screen capture product, and some other professional video products. This is the software that allows all of this to happen. There are other packages like VidBlaster, which are good. I think Wirecast is probably one of the better ones at this price level, which is about $500 for the software. To go up from Wirecast, you'd probably need to go to something like a TriCaster from NewTek, which is one of the things we want in the near future. But a TriCaster is a $7,000 to $10,000 investment. It's a box. It's like a portable lunch box. It's a big box which contains everything you see here in one box. And if you're wondering, because people ask all the time, how much did you spend on all this? In this room right now, we probably have about 10 grand of equipment between the PCs, the mixers, the cameras. You got probably about 4 grand right there just between those. And then the microphones, that's another almost grand. So we've got about 10 grand total with all the monitors included and the lights. The lights are not cheap. At least the KinoFlow lights were about $1,500. And I can't remember if it was, I think it was for a pair. So they're not cheap, but they're very good, professional, good quality lights. So anyway, you don't have to spend this much money to do this kind of operation. But now, before we go on, do you have any questions on your end over there, Larry?
Well, there was a question earlier about what's the type of mixer you're using, how many channels it has.
Okay. And what I'm using here is, and I can go back to that view. Let me go put it up here again. This is a Mackie, M-A-C-K-I-E, Mackie Onyx, O-N-Y-X, Mackie Onyx 1220i Firewire mixer. Now, that means it's got 12 channels. The 1220, they call it 12 for whatever. It's got 12 channels, which are all up here. You can see, I think there's 6 mic inputs, and then the rest can be all done through through music instruments or anything like that. We're using at any given point about 4. So we're using about 4 channels more often than not. We could have gone with a smaller unit, but they don't have the faders, and the faders make it way easier to control the volume. And this is probably about a $500 or $600 mixer. Very good, actually, quality mixer. Mackie is one of the best mixer companies out there. They make very good music mixers and just about any kind of mixer. We got a Firewire mixer because we wanted to make sure that we could connect into the system easily and with full control back and forth between what we're hearing and what you're seeing and hearing as well. So there are mixers that can just go right into a soundboard, a PC card. A lot of PC cards aren't that good. You'd have to get a better PC card to get better sound into it. They tend to be noisy. But if you get a good one, professional sound cards probably range anywhere from $200 to $500, and they can do a very good job. And then you don't need a Firewire mixer. You can just need the cables to connect in. Okay?
Now, you also talked about the gate earlier, and you used the gate to go back and forth between your shots. What's the difference between using the gate and that keypad that you had?
I think, well, the gate, actually wasn't the gate, it was the keyboard, the KVM. The KVM, the keyboard video mouse switcher, is what allows you to switch different computers. We actually don't use that during the show. That's only to get the different Skype sessions. In fact, for example, let's call Coline right now. She's waiting for us. And here's what you're seeing. Here's what I see right now. So you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. This is the image of this Mac mini server. There's a program here. If I click on this, you can probably see it. This is called Desktop Presenter. This is part of Wirecast, and it comes free with it. And it allows you to show anything that's on this particular machine. It even allows you to capture audio. We don't need that because we're capturing audio through the soundboard on the Mac, but it can even do that. So right here I have Coline selected. I'm going to call her. So again, you're seeing exactly what we're seeing.
And those of you who are in the chat room who are following along, the person we're calling Coline is PM Trainer. So that's who you're seeing talking.
And there's that pretty smile. Hi, Coline.
Hey Larry. Hey Rick. How's it going?
It's going well. How you doing? And I have to give Coline credit because this was kind of a last minute thought about 20 minutes ago. I said, hey, Coline, what if I call you in the middle of the show? And she goes, I have to change. So she did a very nice job. And Coline has a studio very similar to mine. She's got, at least audio-wise, she's got all the audio equipment. She's actually insane. She went out and spent a lot of money on this stuff. And you did. You spent probably $2-3 grand.
I would say broke before I said insane. Yeah. I'm also logged into the chat room as well, so I'm seeing some familiar faces. I'm seeing Jeff and Leva, and of course Larry's there. So.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make Coline, because you're still seeing my screen, I'm going to make Coline full screen right now. So now she is taking up the whole screen, and you see her on the transmission, perfectly full screen. Now let's switch between shots again. So this is my shot number 1. Hello, that's me. This is shot number 2. This is actually Coline's future shot. She is going to be taking over as co-host of eLearn Chat. Jean Franzblau has been helping us for about the last, I guess it's going to be 8 weeks total, but she has time issues and constraints and can't really make the morning shows. So I asked Coline if she would join us, and she begrudgingly said yes. Had to drag her out, and now she actually said yes quickly.
Well, it's a great opportunity for me to use all this cool equipment that I have now, Rick.
And there's Larry. I still miss that Viking cap. And this is again, oops, that's the nausea cam, sorry. This is the three-way shot. So here you've got Coline on top. I'm at the bottom left, and then usually we have the guest. In this case, Larry's our guest. So he would have the prime position where he's the main part of the screen. This is pretty common when you do interviews on Skype. And actually, if you go to news channels like any one of them, CNN, Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, any of those, you see they do these kind of setups a lot where you might have a two-way. Now there you can see Coline and Larry together. Here's one. I switch it. Now I'm with Larry, and then we can go to the three-way shot. And behind us, I'll go here. You can probably see it better. There's a motion graphic. And all that is just a graphic that's moving kind of like a curtain back and forth. Very common in broadcast video. It gives it a little bit more polished look. And that's running all the time right behind us. So that's exactly what the big boys do. So when you go to any kind of news channel, you're going to see the same thing. And if I go again back here, that's our three-way shot. This is how we usually do. And mind you, I haven't fixed Coline's image, so she's a little bit small on the screen. Ideally, she'd be bigger, and we'd fix up all the images ahead of time. But this was sort of, like I said, impromptu, and we didn't have a chance. But this gives you an idea of how we run a show and all the different things we do in a show. Now, while we're doing this show, the computer is actually doing a couple of things at the same time, which is why you need a good, fast computer to do this. It is recording this show to a hard drive. And whenever you do video, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you record to not the drive your media is on. So, for example, we have Wirecast on our C drive, but we are recording the show on, I think it's our H drive, which is one of the 2 terabyte drives we have on this. And so that's recording away from everybody else, and it's a fast drive. It's a very fast machine. This is about as fast an i7 as you can get right now as far as i7 Intel processor. It's a quad core, and the video takes pretty good advantage of some of that. We're also recording this live on Justin.tv. So everything you're seeing here is being recorded in 2 places at the same time. I could probably add 3 more recordings at the same time if I wanted to. If I wanted to go out to different live servers or even record to different, I can't record to 2 different hard disks, but I can record definitely to multiple lives. Actually, you know what? I can. I think this allows you to set up multiple hard disk recordings and multiple live. 2 is good enough for us right now, and that works really well. And Coline, I know you're going to be setting up a system very similar to this in the near future. I think your audio is already pretty much there. You've got the mixer. You've got what?
So, yeah, I have the mixer. I have the speakers. I have this this microphone, which is the Rode HS1.
We have the same one.
Yeah, and I also have the other one, the condenser mic, the Rode NT2A, I believe it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm a bad influence on Coline. She buys all these toys.
Yeah. And then each time I get something, he says, "Oh, have you heard about this?"
Can't have enough mics. Actually, it's sort of funny because I think at this point I've got 15, maybe 16 microphones. We don't use them all at once, though I guess we could. I could use 8 at once, maybe. But we've got about 16 mics. And the reason we do that is not because you need that many. It's just that because we do a lot of professional voiceover for work, sometimes we want different sounds for people. And each mic has a uniquely different sound. Though some of the best mics are things like the Rode NT2A. If I go back to my image here and I bring that in, this mic is just one of the best mics on earth. It's very well done, developed by an Australian company called Rode, R-O-D-E, and they just make great, consistent microphones, and that's what I really like about them, with very good sound. And you can hear the sound on our headsets. Now, if you notice, this headset is the same exact one that Coline has here. So that headset is about a $300 headset, but it is really good. Now, the headset doesn't come with the headphones. So what we have are separate headphones, and the headset is strictly for the mic, and it works really well that way. Yep, there you can see. And here we go again. So that's our three-way shot again. So this is, in essence, how we run eLearn Chat and TrekTech. It's not that hard. Right now, I am the operator, which means I do all those little annoying things, as well as run the video switcher. Ideally, as we get more involved in doing shows and stuff, I'll probably just go on camera and maybe not run everything, have somebody run it for us, which would be like what they call a video engineer, somebody who handles all of the components, and then you can focus on the content, if you will. Yes.
Hey, Rick, did you talk to them about like the Shure X2U as an option?
No, in fact, that's a really good option. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Well, you probably know more about it than I do, but I can show them because I'm using it right now because of the short notice that you gave me, the 20-minute notice to get on the show. I didn't have time to get the Mackie all set up. So this is a good alternative if you either can't afford to get the Mackie straight out of the gate, or maybe you're on the road and you need something really fast and you need to connect an XLR mic. It's a good option. And Rick has a video on Vimeo, I believe, which is what I looked at before I purchased this, to connect an XLR mic, which is what this the Rode headset mic is. And you have to buy this adapter here. It's called a Micon 5. It doesn't come with the microphone. And this is the Shure X2U, this part this middle part here.
And X2U means XLR to USB.
To USB. And this here is what's connecting my headset so that I can hear the audio. And all these three components, this here, and my headset connects through this part right here. I'll point down. And goes into a USB on my computer. So it makes it really easy to quickly connect an XLR microphone to a USB if you either use a laptop or you need to connect your mic really quickly.
And the sound quality is really good, as you can tell from her sound. And that's a really quick way. It's about, what is it, about $100, $79?
I believe I paid on Amazon like $99 for it.
It has a very good preamplifier. It's got the USB to XLR converter. That means any good professional quality mic can now be run on your computer without having to spend a lot of extra money on mixers or anything else. So you don't have to, like I said, spend a fortune. You could do really good audio with just a simple device. And a good mic. I would spend some money on a good mic, though. They do come in handy.
And for this model, it does come with some adjustments to it. I'm going to hold it up to my camera here, and you can see it's limited. It's not quite as extensive as the Mackie Onyx, but you can adjust the gain and the volume and the monitor. And it's also provides phantom power for your microphone, which Rick might want to talk about a little bit if he already hasn't talked about what phantom power is.
Yeah, and what phantom power is what they call 48-volt phantom power. That is just powering your microphone. So most condenser microphones need power, and they need power from some source. It doesn't matter what the source is as long as it goes into the microphone. And 48 volt is the international standard. Everybody uses the same thing for the microphones. And from the mixer, you could press a button that says 48 volt, and it'll send power to your microphone. From the X2U, for example, that Shure device, and Shure is spelled S-H-U-R-E. The Shure device will allow you to also apply phantom power, and that just makes a good microphone available to you on a PC. It's nothing more than powering the microphone. A dynamic microphone, which I don't have in front of me, a dynamic microphone doesn't require phantom power, but doesn't have any amplification. You need to amplify it with something else. So there is a little bit of that. You could probably put a dynamic mic on the X2U and add more gain to it, and that would probably work. You don't need the power, but you can add more gain. So Larry, how are we doing? I think we've got about 15-20 minutes left already. How are we doing on questions, time, and anything else people want to know?
Well, on time we're doing just fine, and there's really not any new questions. There's a little bit of discussion going on between Jeff and Coline because Jeff was looking for just what Coline talked about, how he wanted to get the HS1 mic and how he could connect it together. But as far as that goes, I think we've done a really good job showing all this.
Yeah, it's a lot of equipment. I mean, if you look at it, and I didn't show you how many cables are involved. There's a lot of cables going back and forth, and behind some of those machines, it's kind of messy because cables tend to create spaghetti. But there are cables connecting everything together. If I go back to the to this view here, oops, this one. You notice there are quite a few cables just in this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like about 8, 9 cables just into the front of the mixer right over there. And then behind you're going to have cables going out to the speakers. You've got cables going out to the video card. Behind the PC there's all sorts of cables going into it. And so there are a lot of cables that go into making this all work. But it's a lot of fun. I mean, if you have the inclination to really want to torture yourself and create one of these, it's actually quite a bit of fun. I think you have to have a little bit of an audio-video bug in you to really do this, especially if you want to do it professionally.
Hey,
Yeah,
hey, Rick. If you come back to my shot again,
You're on.
we can look at. Yeah, I see that now. I'm not sure because I started the show a little bit later, and I know you showed them your Rode mic. But if they were interested in getting the NT2A, which is what I'm holding up, I don't know how clearly they can see it. Now, Rick's model, or the way Rick has it set up, he doesn't have the pop filter attached, which is this part here. Don't know if you can see it clearly. And also the, what's this called again?
The shock mount.
Yeah, the shock mount. So you connect the shock mount to your boom. And this all comes included in the kit. And I know, Rick, when you presented at Technology, you spent some time, Technology 12, you spent some time talking about the pop filter and the use of the pop filter. And so maybe you could chat a little bit about that some more.
Yeah, one of the things when you do audio presentations, I'll go back to this, and I bring the mic in. I'm not using a pop filter. And a pop filter really makes sure that when you say things like Peter Piper picked a pipe, can't say it today. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. It's clean. It's sharp. You don't have the Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. You probably heard popping there. And that the difference is when you practice your speaking so that you're not giving out too much air. And we still have a lot of hot air. It's just not hot into the mic. So that's the good part. We make sure that we're not, performing the P sound. P, P, P. If I put air into it, P, you're going to get a pop, and it's going to sound really bad. In fact, a lot of e-learning courses have that really bad thing where people do their own audio, and you hear, perhaps we need to practice some more of this so that we can potentially, and every time they say a P, it's like boom, 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 or a C or whatever, anything that requires a hard syllable, you're going to get a little bit of that, of the popping. When you practice, you don't get that much anymore. That's just a question of practice. Or some people are so dead they have no sound coming out of them, and that's okay too. They won't have any pops. So anyway, so I don't have a pop filter on this. I do have the same pop filter that Coline has. It came with it. It's a very good pop filter actually, but I just have it on this. And let me show you the boom again. So over here, when I show you the mic, here's the mic in its entirety, and you see it's just connected via this little connector here. Let me see if you can see that. And then back here, all the way up here, down to the bottom, and there's a riser here. That thing lifts this boom. The boom is just where the mic is. You notice I can move it down, I can move it up, I can move it close to me, I can move it away. So the boom just allows you to suspend the mic and keep things out of the way. So it's a nice, easy way to connect a microphone. When you have it, we have this in our studio at work. At work, we have a little voiceover studio, and same thing. We have the same kind of boom. We don't have a mixer at work because we really don't need it. When you record voiceover, you don't really need a mixer. We do all the mixing afterwards using tools like Adobe Audition or Soundy SoundForge. Actually, mostly Adobe Audition for mixing. And so that's just some of the things that would make for a very simple internet studio. This has all the things you need really for a broadcasting TV station, if you will, on the internet. All you need, you could have more monitors, you could have more. I can have unlimited pretty much connections into Wirecast as far as video feeds. So you can feed videos, you can show graphics, you can do a lot of things just from the tool without having to do anything else. You notice that when, for example, I switch shots, we've got some transitions. If I switch here, that's the other cam. So we're doing a little fade. Let's say I want to change that. Now, this isn't the easiest to change on the fly, because especially if you're talking and doing a whole mess of other things, you've got to kind of pay a little bit of attention. Let's say we don't want to do, let's say we want to do a bowstring. So every time we switch shots, now we have a different effect. It's kind of a cool effect. That's called the bowstring effect. If I don't like that effect, we can go and, let me switch to a different effect.
No, the effects built into Wirecast.
They are. These are all built into Wirecast. So now we're swooping in. And I've got this on fast. If I slow it down, I'm going to go to slowest. Now we're going to switch. Now watch. That's kind of a cool effect. So now we're kind of all swooping in and out slowly. Could put the audience to sleep having to watch all this all the time, but there we go. And the thing is, we can make all of these effects go faster or slower. So let's say that is a little too slow. So let's speed it up and we'll go to normal. So this will be a normal swoop. That's the kind of stuff you see on TV shows all the time. But you probably wouldn't want to do this kind of swoop all the time. It would probably drive people a little crazy. And then we have other effects like swinging doors. So now I can, so that's kind of a cool effect. Kind of a little rotation. Okay, and let's see, there's one or two more of these. And again, these are all built in. Here's a long slide. So what this does, it does a kind of a weird long slide. Not one of my favorites, but it does it okay. And then let's see, I think there's one more of these. You can slide left, which is nothing. And then this is kind of a fun one, a cube. So now here we have our typical cube effect. So these are like 3D transitions. Okay, the one you normally would use in a show is either a cut, and a cut's real common where you just do a quick cut. We could be doing this all the time. It works really well. We'll just leave it a cut for the rest of the show. Or the other one would be a smooth. And a smooth gives it a small transition. It's like a very quick fade in. And that works really well too. So these are all things that you can do with Wirecast. You can add shots on the fly. Though occasionally I've had a problem adding something on the fly because it crashes, which is really not good because it really crashes everything. You're live, you're recording. That's a moment when you're sitting there looking calm, cool, and collected, but your heart's going 140 a second, and you're just about ready to collapse. So because things aren't going right. I've actually lost 20 pounds doing this, so this is great. You lose a lot of weight as you sweat off the problems. So what's going on in the chat room?
I think Gina's looking at our backsides.
Gina has joined us.
Gina Shrek?
Gina Shrek.
Hey, Gina.
Right now. And she was expecting to come in and see the back of everyone's head behind the scenes. So, but that's it. It looks like Levy was talking.
Okay, this shot is for Gina. All right.
Oh.
Okay, we're back.
There you go. They were talking about the Shure PG42.
Mm-hmm. The Shure PG42 is a very good voiceover microphone. It comes in two flavors. It's either USB or XLR, which is the 3-connector cable, and very good microphone. So is the PG27. I know I have some friends who think that's better than the 42. I think they're both really good. I have the 42. It has a very nice sound for microphones. So for that, it's very clean, very good. It's definitely a good mic. and the USB version also sounds very clean, very good. So definitely one that if you don't want to buy other mics. Now, given a choice, if I have budget, if I have $400 versus $200, I'll get the Rode NT2A over the Shure. I think it has a better sound, but it costs double, more than double, because I think the PG42 now is about $179. So it's a great price for a very good all-inclusive mic. It's already got built-in USB, so you don't have to worry about that. The gain and everything on it is already there. So definitely a great mic for somebody wanting to start out doing voiceover, and it will give you very clean sound.
Rick, have you talked about the Blue Yeti? That was my gateway mic to getting started.
Yeah, the Blue Yeti is actually, it's the gateway mic.
It's the one that gets you hooked.
What we do is we start them with the cheap ones and work our way up. Anyway, the Blue Yeti is a microphone by a company called Blue. The Yeti is about 99. I think it's under 100 right now. It's an awesome microphone for the price. It is a USB microphone. It has a cute design. It's got a built-in stand, which kind of looks like a Yeti. And unfortunately, I have it in my mic case, which is in a closet behind me under locked doors, so I can't bring it out easily right now. But the Yeti is actually, Coline, do you have that handy?
No, when I got the Rhodes, I put mine away too, so mine's locked up as well.
The Yeti has been laid to rest.
It's been laid to rest, but it really is a good mic to start with. If you either have a budget or you're not sure if you want to do this or you're not going to be using it too often, it's a great USB mic. It has great sound. I believe, again, if you look for Rick's review on Vimeo or Justin TV or wherever he hosts them, he has a really good review of the Yeti mic, and it's just straight USB, plug and play. You can go straight into your laptop or your desktop or whatever.
And it's four mics in one. And it's basically 4 mics in one.
Exactly. And you don't need the boom arm because it comes with a stand.
Though you can put it on a boom.
But you can, because I had mine on a boom as well. And what else is good about it? Great. Well, it's easy to set up. It sounds good. And I believe the last time I looked on Amazon, it was going for like $69 or something like that. Something crazy.
Yeah, if you even have $69 to spare, buy it. It's just a great mic to have, and it's cute. It's almost like a talking piece. It kind of looks like a Yeti, one of those little Sasquatch kind of thingies. It's a cute mic. Weighs about 5 pounds. It's not light. The stand is about 3 pounds of that, and then the microphone has, I think, 3 capsules in it, and the capsules are what get the sound from you. It's what vibrates when it goes through the mic, and you have just 4 different audio patterns which allow you to record not only like we're recording now, which is excuse me, a cardioid pattern. Oops, sorry about that. A cardioid pattern, which means it captures everything kind of in front of you. It can also do an omni pattern, which is a big circle. It captures everything around you. And it can also do hypercardioid, which is, or actually stereo, which is left and right. And I believe it does hypercardioid, which is a little bigger in the front and a little smaller in the back, but you can do interviews that way as well. So it's a very versatile mic for the money. Not a bad choice at all.
Now, Rick, Gina has called you out, and you are losing caveman points for using cute for a microphone.
All right, it's not cute, it's manly.
There you go.
It's a manly mic. It's a mic that makes you just feel strong. Gina.
So, well, Rick, appreciate you doing this with us, and Coline for coming in and at the last minute and getting all dolled up for us. So unless I don't see any more questions in the chat room, I think we'll go ahead and put a close to this. A couple announcements that I'd like to make here is that if you're interested in watching Shrek Tech is every Tuesday at 10 o'clock Central Time. eLearn chats every Wednesday at 10 o'clock Central Time as well. We have our eLearning SIG. It's the third Thursday of each month. It's from 12:30 to 1:30. And then if you want to follow the two chapters, Central Oklahoma chapter, COC ASTD for the hashtag, and the Northeast Oklahoma chapter is NEOK ASTD. So you can follow along with those. Next month in March, we do not have an e-learning SIG event because we have both the Heartland e-learning conference is going to be in town, and then also we have the Social Media Tulsa. And if you're able to get out to the Social Media Tulsa, we will have Gina Schreck is actually going to be here in Tulsa, and we're going to be able to see her speaking live. So, follow the hashtag SM Tulsa to follow her on that. Rick, you mentioned where you're going to be somewhere here in May for a conference.
Yes, and in fact, this is for Gina.
Yeah!
Yay, Gina.
Sorry about that. She gets carried away with that one. Yes, I'm going to be. Where am I going to be? In March, I'm actually traveling on business to Ohio in March. In May, I'm going to be at the Adobe Camp in Boston. I believe it's at the Harvard Medical Center, and that's being put on by Kirsten Rourke. She's an Adobe certified trainer, runs a training company out of Boston. A really good person, and I was invited to do talk on sound. So I'm going to talk about sound for designers, how to get into basic sound to make your pieces look sound a little bit better. Awesome. And then I'll be talking at DevLearn, but that's back in November, so that's still a ways away.
Okay, and then we've got in the beginning of May we got ASTD ICE is going to be in Denver, so another opportunity for us to track down and spend time with Gina.
Yeah.
We'll return to the Gina show.
And we may try to make ICE. Right now, it depends on schedules, but we'll try to make it. We're not sure yet on that one. Hopefully we can make it.
So,
are you going to be at ICE this year,
we've got,
Larry?
I'm sorry?
Are you going to be at ICE this year?
I am. I am going to be at ICE presenting on QR codes, innovation technology with QR codes again.
Awesome.
Are you going to be wearing a QR code T-shirt?
I don't know about that. I may put it on my Viking horns.
Gina's got a home as a QR code T-shirts.
But yeah, we've got that. We've got upcoming presenters are going to be Wes Fryer is the author of Playing with Media, and we also got Cindy Huggett, who will be doing a presentation on virtual training basics. That's her ASTD publication book.
Yeah, she's good.
So that's our future. So I look forward to seeing everyone at future events. And thank you again, Rick and Coline, so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting us. We really appreciate it. And thanks all of you in the chat room and who watch the recording later. We really appreciate it. So what we'll do is we'll stop the recording in about a moment, and then I'll post it up on Twitter, and I'll send you a link, Larry, so that you can put it up wherever you'd like, and that way the show will be up there for whoever wants to see it. And then we'll also have, maybe we'll put it up on eLearn Chat as well. So we'll have it as part of eLearn Chat, and we'll put it also as a separate link elsewhere on Vimeo so you can have it. And then the live recording, what we did live today, will be up probably for 1 to 3 weeks, the complete live show. So in other words, we had like about a 10-minute pre-show. Unfortunately, that doesn't get saved, and there's no way for us to easily save it because the shows are too long for YouTube, so we can't really pop them out of there, and which is okay because the pre-show shows can be really kind of crazy sometimes. So anyway, shall we wrap it up, Larry?
Absolutely. Thanks again. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you at some upcoming events.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.